Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing? How you doing? I'm Craig here. At it again, life on the farm in Thailand. And I have finished the welding portion of our outdoor garden, covered garden. And I'll tell you, it was not easy. Yeah, I'm not a welder, man. I don't think I ever welded in America, except in, you know, shop class in high school. And even then, I don't remember any of that. But I had metal shops, so we probably did welding. I know we did, like, we made chisels and stuff, and Japanese stars, threw them when you weren't supposed to, and you put that pencil down the air hose and shot it. I remember all the bad stuff. Speaking of that, I do remember my teacher's name. My metal shop teacher's name was Mr. Bray. And the only reason I remember that is because someone made a Japanese star, you know, with the 45 degree or 90 degree angle cutter. You know, you could just cut sheet metal, boom, 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 and do it five times. 4 or 5 times, you get yourself a star. And somebody threw it and went flying across the room. There's a big shop. It went flying across the room and took a turn and went whack, and it stuck right in the calf of Mr. Bray. He screamed. There was double doors on both sides of the room. Everybody just poof out the doors and ran. Next day, you know, of course, he came back. It was all bandaged up, stitches and everything. And he was very disappointed in us. But everybody's like, damn, I want to make me one of those. That's probably when I first made them. I liked all that martial arts stuff, you know, making weapons and stuff. But anyway, I welded. Mostly what I learned in welding here, I watched some of the Thai guys weld some of the stuff, you know, over their house, or when they were putting that carport up. I saw what they were doing. I'm all, I can do that. So I bought what I needed and I welded this one. But I mean, it's ugly too, but you know what? It's strong. I feel it. You know, it's strong. It ain't going nowhere. I hit it with the hammer and stuff. You know, I mean, it's a little bit shaky because it's so wide. You know, it's such these are 6 meters, and there's probably 1.5 meters or something on the end, and so it's probably a 5 meter span or so. But these poles I put in first, and they were, you know, better on solid ground. This side was higher, that side is lower, and softer, which was a problem because when I put those poles in, you know, this pole right here and that pole right there are the same height, no problem, because the ground was okay right there. But as I moved down, the ground got softer, and that meant the pole got lower. So I had in order to make it level, I had to add metal on top of the cement. And 2 of those poles don't have the metal bar up at the top because they didn't have any of those, so I had to get the step pole and put my own bar through it. But of course I didn't have a bar. Well, I had bar, but it was a thinner kind, you know, smaller, but it'll work. So I just used what I had, you know. And you get that Frankenstein thing going when you use what you have. But with this one, once you see here, when I welded this, this bar was sticking up. But remember, I'm going to be putting this green tarp over the top of it, right? And as I pulled the tarp, I don't want it snagging on everything. So I actually heated that up right there, and then just heated it to where I could bend it over and then welded it there, whatever. It'll probably still snag, but maybe not quite as easy. And it took 2 bar lengths, so I had 6 meters here, and then another bar there, and 6 more meters. Same, I put the quarter bar or whatever it's called here. It's half of one of those. I put that down the middle to add, you know, more stability and for the material to hang over it better. But yeah, it wasn't easy. This thing here, that's what I was talking about right here. I had to add a extra piece of bar, just try and weld the crap out of it. Oh, as a matter of fact, yeah, speaking of weld the crap out of it. So this bar would have been long enough, but it would only been long enough by like right on top of the ends of the other pipe, and I didn't want that. I felt structurally it needed to be overhanging more, you know. So I had a little piece, I cut it and I welded it on to the ends. And look here. So I just basically put a bar in there. It's all junky right there, but welded it together so I could have it extend out there. And same for the other side. Although this other side again, I mean, I did, you know, this came out all right, you know, just holding that bar. But this is one of those ones I was telling you about where it just mentioned where it's a step side. It didn't have any metal bars, so I just stuck a bunch of small bar through there and just welded the shit out of it. It's strong. It's strong. It don't look pretty, but it's strong, man, and that's what counts, right? But it's level. That's what I wanted. You know, I wanted those are the two most important things in my consideration when I was making this, is I wanted it level and I wanted it strong. And the reason I want it strong is for future use, right? I know I could probably do whatever, re-weld stuff and all that. If I put a tin roof on it or something like that, I mean, I could, you know. As a matter of fact, let me make sure this didn't change the level. That's all right. I know you can see that, but I could put an A-frame on there, and it'd probably support it. But we're not doing that. I got to get this green tarp on here, green stuff on here. We'll take a look at what that does after I get it on there. But man, it was brutal. I started out, I was FaceTiming their Insta video with my little sister this morning at 6:30 in the morning. She called, she butt dialed me, but then I called her back. But yeah, so then shortly after that, I just finished my coffee and came out here. So, and what time is it now? It's 10:30. I just finished about 10:15 or so. So 3.5 hours, 3 hours, 15 minutes, something like that, of welding. Thankfully, the sun was not bearing down on me. That's why I came out early too. I took advantage of the fact that the sun was not bearing down on me. But you know, I got other stuff I got to do. Oh, by the way, I bought this at the Sunday market yesterday. This is a nice white washed. This is actually made of my sock, which is of course teak wood, and it's an old and a little shadow box. I'll put it up there on the, clean it out a little bit, and it'll go inside the shop house because I think that look real cool in there. It's all white. Then I get that, sand it up a little bit. Well, I did make a couple more stepping stones, and I put them out there in the front. I still need to clean them up a little bit, but what else did I do? Whew. I bought some this TOA cement waterproof, flexible waterproof cement. It's that powder you mix, like magic powder or whatever. Because the bottom, when I was talking about when I was fixing my water tanks and had leaks, I put all new cement and stuff in there, and then it wasn't the cement. I don't know. My problem was that I kept the tanks full of water, and so the weight of the water was just, you know, ever so slightly pushing the water out of the tiny hole, 1 or 2 or 3 holes. So it wasn't really drying, even though all the other cement dried around it. So now I poured in all this waterproof cement stuff, and it seems to be hard, but I'm gonna let it dry some more. I could let it dry a whole another day probably. I have enough water in the tank. I like to let it dry really hard, and then before I start filling up the tanks again. see how it did it. Ideally, I don't want any water out here, but I see water. Where's that water coming from? It's weird. It's like it sweats or something. I don't know, man. I think most of these cement rainwater tanks I've seen on any farm or any house have that rust colored water coming out leaking, you know, and it's because just the cement is porous, I guess. But I don't want to leak in a whole lot, and then, you know, and then the tank don't fill up. So we'll see. I got one of these. Oh, I attached one of these. Have you ever seen one of these? It's like for the bush cutter. Instead of using my blade to chop off the morning glory off the corners of the road out there, where it hits the rocks, bam, 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 and it messes that up. I got that. I'm gonna see if I can do it and grind it off. My wife also bought one of these. Well, I bought it. She wanted one of these. This is a tiller. And you just attach it to the end of the bush cutter. And she was out there yesterday, tried it out. I hooked it up for her. It's heavy, man. And well, you can do it, man. So she went out there and was grinding away. I think I have some video of that. I did take some video. But when you get to the bigger rocks and it's harder, it's like boom, boom, boom. It's kicking back. So, you know, little girls, I don't know. Even myself, I'd have to be muscling that thing, and it'd be jacking my arms and stuff. So I thought we'd maybe, I don't know how it'll how it will do in the mud, but maybe if it rains just a little bit and that dirt is soft enough for me to kind of step on and let it fall apart, that maybe that thing will work really good. The areas where it didn't have that, where she was able to use it, actually came out pretty good. I was like, damn, because it also chops, you know, surface weeds or whatever, but it softens up all the dirt. They also have the one that has the rotary blades, like the ones that are just like this, you know, where it could chop like that, but I guess she didn't want that one. But that's what we do. We buy stuff to get stuff done, I guess. I have a whole lot of extra sand and extra rock. I needed more, but you know, they don't like delivering. Like, I could have drove my truck down to the river and picked up river sand and rock and finished those posts, but I figured I was going to make stones and this and that, so I got that extra. There's 2 cubes of sand and rock, and then a few bags of cement that I've already used. But now that sand has already fast becoming the cat's favorite pile, which I gotta chase them out of there because I don't want to be scooping pooping. Dang it. Anyway, whoo, that's all I gotta say is whoo. It's not hot, but there's also no wind, man. Absolutely no wind, except when I turn on the fan. And the birds have been coming out feasting on the rice. But I let out one of these firecrackers. One of these here firecrackers. Scared the crap out of the neighbors. And the birds, of course. Keep them away from this whole area. Although it's weird, it's the birds that eat the seeds. You know, like I guess pigeons and stuff, and then all these white birds, big egrets that eat everything. Well, the egrets actually go for the snails and stuff. I think it's mostly the smaller birds, black ones, minor birds, and pigeons that are, I'm gonna watch my head in here, that are eating the seeds. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah. Well, here I am. In my favorite place right now, anyway. Sitting in my teak wood chair. So, let's say 10:30 in the morning. I think I'm kind of done. I'm just gonna clean up my shop, clean up my tools that I've been using the last couple of days, get everything back in order, kind of. And my bush cutter, I took it apart, and I thought maybe I needed just this one part, etc., but it wasn't that. I found out that, I don't know if you can probably see that in there, or maybe in there, but inside here there is a ball bearing race. It has, I don't know, maybe 12 ball bearings in there, and it appears that some of them have been shredded and buggered up on the side. So this is why the blade, like when you start the motor starts no problem, but then the blade, it'll like spin like once, twice, maybe a couple times, then not, and then not, like what? At first I just thought it was maybe the spindle, because it's got the grooves. The spindle was stripped, but I took the whole spindle bar out and both ends of it were fine, and inside there it was fine, and then inside the other end it looked a little strippy, but I was like, so I just switched the head with the new one I bought, with the new, because I put that tiller on that bush cutter, so I had to take the blade head off, and I used that on my old, but then when I put it on the old one, it still did that. So then I knew it wasn't that end of it, it had to be this end, which is that piece I just took off. And it seems that they don't sell just that piece. They should, but I couldn't find it. It wasn't at any of the stores around here, and I didn't find it on Lazada. But what I did find on Lazada was the whole bar. So that piece, the whole bar, the end piece with the you know, with the cap mount and everything, and the spindle bar, basically the whole end of bush cutter from the motor out, was like 500 baht. It said it was on sale. It said it was $19.99. So it was like, so it was 2,000 baht, and it was 73% off or something. So it was like 500 baht, or 4.99 or something. I don't know. Yeah, about 500 baht for the whole assembly. So I said, well, hell, I'll just buy the assembly, because if I was going to buy that one part, it probably would have been a couple hundred baht at least. And this way I get all the new stuff, and I'll have the old assembly, when I take it off, I'll have that to you know, as backup. Or I could just take that part off of the new one and save all the new stuff as backup. Maybe I'll do that. That's pretty good. And also, I don't know if I mentioned it. I probably did mention it. I had tin. Yeah, I did. That orange piece of tin was missing. I figured it blew in the water, but nope. Still haven't found it. Went out there again. And PVC poking holes in. Yeah, overheated the battery. Well, I put the green up. And there she is. Not quite cinched up. This one piece is actually shorter, so there's a gap right here, but everything else is up there. And I still have to sew these edges together. I did it before when we put the lawn in. I used this whole thing, covered the lawn, right, protect the seeds and stuff, and I used this and sewed them or tied them together. But I think with these it's better if you overlap it and then you weave it. But I think I need like a bamboo weaver or something, you know. It'd probably be better to have like a threader, you know. So yeah, there it is. Well, I think I covered a lot of ground today. Shared a few things with you. And now it's about noon, which is definitely my quitting time. But yeah, looking good, man. With that, if you watched the whole video, thanks for watching. And keep watching. Hey, if you haven't, subscribe. That's pretty cool, man. The more subscribers I get, you know, every time I get a new subscriber, I feel motivated. Why, I don't know, but that's how it is. You know, the more subscribers you have, the more motivated you get, and the better you feel, I guess, about doing stuff, trying to entertain people. I'm an entertainer. That's that ADHD stuff, you know. All right, man. Well, again, thanks for watching and keep watching. I'll get back at you.